This was a picture light that I purchased a long time ago, and I mounted it to the headboard of my bed, and I used that as a reading light. It came with that funky light bulb. I think it was a fluorescent. I mean, it did work. It did put out a fair amount of light, as you can see, but it just wasn't exactly what I was shooting for. When I redid the bedroom and redid the bed, I didn't have a headboard. So I went on eBay and I found this cast brass base. And what I did was I took the base of the light, I shortened it and then drilled a hole because it was much longer, and then screwed it to the base from the underside with a fender washer and a screw and a nut. It was all brass. Then I needed a way to turn the light on and off, so I drilled a hole in the base, and on Amazon I got these little micro switches, and then I installed the switch into the base as you see. So it doesn't look too bad. The wire from the light coming down the tube, I drilled another hole so that the wire from in the back would drop down under the base. And then in this image, you'll see where I've got it wired up with the switch and the little blue wire nuts. And I held everything in place with some hot glue. Now, I needed a better bulb than that fluorescent. So I found these Fight LEDs. They're 2 watts, and it's equal to a 20-watt light. It's kind of I think it was 2600 Kelvin. It's kind of yellow, which is what I want. I didn't want it too stark. But of course, it's the wrong size. So I had to get these adapters to get it out to the regular size of a light bulb. And in this picture, you'll see the whole thing is assembled, and that's what it looked like. There is an improvement in both light output and looks. So then I set it next to the new bed and the new nightstand, and I thought it was going to work. However, because the bed is so tall, I've got a problem that the light isn't tall enough to get at an angle, look down on the bed, because it was in my eyes when I was reading. So what I had to do, I had to get a taller brass pipe. So I went to grandbrass.com and I got this 10-inch by 8th ID brass pipe threaded on both ends. You got to get the threaded on both ends because they do have just tube, because I'm threading it both in the base and the head of the light. And here's all the parts to the light. You can see that the tube on the left is much longer than the one that came with it. Now, if you notice on the right, the base, there is an adjustment, so it can go up and down. But that short one, even all the way up, it wasn't enough. And while I was at it, I decided to buy brand new cord. So I got that clear orange tinted cord from Home Depot. And then I put the thing together, and you can see that it is now much taller. It looks a little funny, but the thing is, it gives me the angle I want. And you see right here, it's up in the air, and when you turn it towards the bed and angle it down, you are not getting it in your eyes. It's just on your book or magazine or whatever, because I like to read a little bit before I go to bed. So that is the part 1 light for my bed. The next is part 2 for a kitchen desk light. I purchased this halogen desk lamp about 20 years ago. It provided all the light that I needed at my computer desk, but the 20-watt halogen bulb was very hot. So I decided to update it. When I took that quartz iodine element out, what I did was I put a 3-inch LED puck light, and I just wired in like that, because it's all 12 volt. Thing is, when you put the thing together, get it back in, it's not very bright. But that was the best I could do for a few years, because I couldn't find anything better. So Next, I'm going to show you that I bought a strip LED light. As soon as the LEDs came out in chip on board, I was able to find something that was a little bit better. And that's what I'm going to end up using to light this desk area. Well, today the light bar came in. Amazon's pretty good about that. So let's see what we got here. There's 2 of them in a package. Well, I only need 1. So we've got a sticker thing to stick it on. And there's the light. Just curious how good it's going to be. Bring that down. And if I can pull this apart. Come on. There we go. So, one has a black with a white stripe and the other doesn't. So I'm assuming that that is the positive. Now we could just quickly stick this together and see how it's going to look. Because I'm real curious. I'm hoping that it'll work. If not, we'll go to plan B. As soon as I figure out what plan B is. Alright, let's see what we get. But the thing is, it's flickering. I don't know whether you can see it or not, but something's not right. I'm going to have to look into this because it should be brighter and it should not be flickering like that. Alright, let me try to figure this out. Okay, here's what I've discovered. I had put this light assembly on so long ago, I forgot that it was actually 13 volts AC, not DC. Because when I put my old Radio Shack meter on it, it read 13 volts AC. Well, this is designed to run on DC. Oops. So what I'm going to have to do is go inside, pull that transformer, change it over to DC. So we'll go with 120 AC to 12 DC instead of 120 AC to 13 AC. That's what I've got to do. I like this light. I like the size of it. I think with this across like that, it'll probably work pretty good. Alright, so we're going to now take this thing apart and see what's actually in there. I'm sure that there's a transformer, step-down transformer. More than likely. Two wires coming in on 110, 2 wires going out on 13. Of course the switch is in the way. But get that wire out of there. Alrighty, let's see what we got. Okay, so we have a step-down transformer. We've got 120 coming in there. The reds are, let me see here. No, that is, okay, this is 13 AC going up the stalk. The 110 comes into the switch, and to this red wire, comes down, comes back. That's the switch. Okay, we can do this. Just got to get that out of there. Go to Amazon and get myself a 12 volt DC step down, and it looks like those are rivets, so that'll have to be drilled out. This can be done. We can do it. So in the meantime, while I'm waiting, what I did was I popped this light assembly out of this ring. There's the AC puck light. I won't be using that anymore. Then I took a piece of that sticky tape, and with the scissors I cut a very thin piece so that I could stick the wire. You can probably see it right there. It's just the width of the wire, so that it comes up and comes over to my pencil mark that's in the middle. And what I'm figuring is I'm going to get that on something like that. This wire will bend down and go through and come out the bottom, which will then go into the head and mount or wire up. So I'm not too sure. I think I want this because it does kind of fit, but I may come up with something better. Anyway, this is just what ifing right now, but just killing time waiting for Amazon to bring me a power supply for the light. I went with a different idea for the mount. What I did was I took a piece of this flat bar. It is Everbuilt flat bar, plain steel, 3/4 by 1/8, and put it in a vise, bent it 90, then bent it 90 again so that this will line up. Then to get the bend, I twisted it so that when this is parallel, this is angled down. So I'm going to try to wire this up. I got some smaller wire nuts, thinking that might be better. There's one. Get out of the way. And there is two. Now what I did was I cut two pieces of that stickum and narrowed it so that it's the width of that and the length. And I'm hoping that I can just stick it on the way they had intended the thing to go. And there's one. A lot of this has been eyeball engineering. And then try to get that red off. So stick to my fingers. Alright, so I got my little center line right there. If I can get it roughly the way I want. There you go. And maybe I'll put some kind of a cover over those wire nuts or not. Don't know. Not perfectly centered, but it's real close. So that's roughly what it's going to look like. There. There it is. but it's flickering. And it'll be a lot brighter on DC. But you get the idea of what I was shooting for. Small lamp on this table. Table's not very deep. Light up the area. So we'll just wait for the power supply, and I'll show you how I'm going to install that. So what I came up with for the top was I took these are an entree meal, and I cut out a piece, and that will set on there roughly like that. Maybe needs just a touch more trimming. I've just been playing here. And so then I'm going to take some super glue and put some dabs of super glue like that, and set this on it. And that will hopefully glue down. If I have to do anything, I'll do it from the bottom side. So it's looking better all the time. So here's a close-up of that plastic piece. I did a little bit more trimming just so that it matches the steel frame a little better. So I think that that's an improvement. A few days later, still waiting for the power supply so I can use the darn light. Well, after a week's wait, my power supply came in. IP67 power supply, 15 watt, one piece. Okay, there it is. So what do we got? Input is blue and brown. That would be 110. Output, red is positive, black is negative. That would be the 12 volt DC. So we'll have to set this thing down, and I put one screw back in so that I could have the base solid. Come on out of there. Alright. So these right there are going to be the 12 volt. And this one right there, that is one of the, that is power coming in and going into here. The other wire goes up to the switch and comes down here, so that one's going to have to be cut. Well, we can do that, just got to get some electrical tools. Now that we've got the proper implements of destruction, this, I'm going to cut it down quite low, so I've got plenty of room. And that one is going to have to get stripped. Wrong one maybe. Let's try that one. There we go. Okay. So that has got to be drilled out, and that's got to be drilled out. So I'll take that over to the vise and drill those rivets out, get that thing out of there, and then figure out just how that's going to get attached to there. Probably double stick tape will probably work just as well as anything. Well, that was an easy operation to get that thing out of there. That will set right in there like that. So, double stick tape. How big are you? About there. Alrighty. Just put that just like that. And try to get the end off. There we go. So I'm going to set that pretty much like that. There. Now I just got to do some wiring. So at this point in time, these wires right here, these were the 12 volt. They're going up the shaft to the light. I've got one of the 110s. Got to get this other 110. I didn't have any of those little tiny ones, so I've got, my smallest I have is these blue. It'll probably work. There. So, I ought to see if it works. See if I boogered something up. Where's the switch? Something's not. Why was that slow and coming on? Turn it off, try it again. Yeah, so this thing's a bit slow in producing power. Oh dear. So let me get this back together and we'll see how much brighter it is with no flicker. So there's the last one. So now I'll put this up on its feet. Tilt that down. Plug this in. There you go. That is a good deal brighter than it was. Yes. Good deal brighter. Probably I should have done that bracket out of aluminum because it's a little tippy when you get it bent. Maybe if I go straighter and then tip it. But anyway, I think that was a worthwhile little project. There you go. Okay, I just got to put everything back on the desk. Make it purty again.